Everybody, if you don't know, my name is Leo. I also go as Book Dad, and welcome to episode 3 of Book Talk. I'm here with Charles, and today we are talking with Book Talk creator Jen Reeds. If you're new here, Book Talk is this live series where we have real conversations with authors and creators from the Book Talk community. We talk about books, we talk about writing, content creation, and everything in between. So, Jen, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you guys?
We're good. We're excited to talk with you.
Right? No point in having a bad day, especially on a nice Sunday morning talking with Jen.
Yeah, I'm stoked you guys wanted to chat with me. I'm kind of surprised, honestly.
What?
Really? I don't know
No.
why you'd be surprised. And it
I
actually,
don't
like, I
oh,
I
go
know you and I kind of go into a group chat, but this actually was Leo's idea.
It
What?
was.
Leo,
I
you're
think you were
so
the first.
wild.
You're the first person I think that we talked about, if I'm honest. I'm almost positive.
Yeah.
I'm like kind of shocked by that, like truly. Because I don't know. I'm like, okay, first of all, I'm a very self-deprecating person. Like I think all of us are. Maybe I am, but like I take it to an extreme where I'm like, oh, it's whatever. I'm whatever. Like I'm nothing. I'm just like a nerd on the internet doing book reviews for other adults, trying to get them to read books.
Well, clearly, what is it, like 8,000 people don't feel that way because you got quite a few followers. So people like what you're doing.
Which is
So,
wild.
yeah, trust, yeah, no, I get it. So I guess for the people who don't know you, and maybe some of our followers that are on here, I guess can you tell us a little bit about you and how you ended up coming into being a creator on TikTok?
Honestly, I was reading a bunch of books and I was trying to talk to everybody about all of the books that I was reading, and nobody was reading as many books as I was. And I was like, oh my God, I need to talk to somebody. And I can't just talk to random people at the bookstore about, the books that I'm reading. And so my friend was like, girl, you should start a book talk. And I was like, what is that? And sure, why not? So like every other millennial in the world, I took to TikTok and was like, I'm gonna start something. So that's kind of how I started. So
Okay.
yeah.
What were the books? You say you had nobody to talk with about the books. Which books were they?
I mean all of these like fantasy books, right? Like I started off reading sci-fi when I was a lot younger. And then I started reading these fantasy books, which fantasy is not really my genre. It's not,
Hmm.
I've never read fantasy. I did not start reading fantasy until like the last year. Romance as well. Like I did not read romantasy. I was not a big romance reader. And so, everybody in my life right now is reading nonfiction, self-help. And I was like, no, I don't want to read that right now. I'm so not interested in that. Or like
Yeah.
books about politics or anything like I was like, no, I need a break. I've suffered enough. I am a 42-year-old millennial. I have gone through enough. I'm going to start reading about dragons. And so that's
Oh
why I
yeah.
took to the internet.
Okay.
I feel like
Awesome.
that's where a lot of us kind of started out with TikTok and book talk and like reading books is
Hmm.
during that 2020 cycle with COVID and everything going on.
Yeah. Are you kidding? I graduated during the recession in 2007. There were no jobs for me. Like, I've suffered enough. I'm going to read about dragons and I'm going to take to the internet to talk to other people about dragons. So, yeah. Yeah, Holly gets it. She's in the chat. She's saying she feels the same thing. She just wanted to find people to chat more about books. And like I feel like this like whole stigma of like taking to the internet and like talking to people. I don't know if you feel this way, Charles, but like when I was younger, people who posted on the internet, it was kind of strange, right? Hey, thank you.
There was a whole like they were like the scene kids is what you would call them, and they were like this
Yeah.
this borderline of VSO goth kids who had the swoopy
Yes.
hair, which I don't know if that was your vibe or not, but I feel like that was definitely the type of kid that was it was cringe. And I feel
Yeah.
like as we've grown up as millennials, we've embraced cringe because cringe is freedom, quite honestly.
I mean, I was that kid. I was cringy. I had a lip ring, so I was emo.
There you go.
I still have the little, like, if you look closely, it's right
Yeah,
there.
the your badge of honor.
Totally, So, like, I was absolutely that cringy kid when I was younger, and now I'm just like this cringy adult on the internet
Mhm.
that is doing book reports for everybody. Free book reports.
Speaking of that, when you
Okay.
were a kid, did you read a lot? And like, was it purely academic? This is what I have to do for um, school, or was it like you enjoyed reading and you kind of got lost into a world there?
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely read a ton when I was a kid. I mean, I don't know. Do you guys remember that free pizza that you would get from Pizza Hut if you read like 100 books in the summer? Like that was the catalyst for me. And like the other thing too is my parents would take us to the library all of the time and we would just get all of these books. So I was a huge reader when I was a kid. And the other, and like when my parents immigrated to the US, and they didn't know how to speak English. And so I learned only Spanish when I was a kid. And so when I got to school, I had no idea what anybody was talking. I like didn't know English. English is my second language. And so my dad was like, "Well, the only way you're going to learn to read or the only way you're going to learn to speak English is if you start reading books." And so that's how he made me a reader. Was
Mhm.
he took me to the library and was like, "We're going to read all of these books." And my ESL teacher, Mrs. Geichens, she also was like, "This is how you're going to learn English is by reading all of these books." And so that's how I became a reader.
That is because I too, my father immigrated here from El Salvador, and I know we have that in common. And I feel like that is a common theme for children of immigrants. Is like reading is a core way that we either learned how to speak English or our parents learned how to speak English. For me, my father would always read to us because at the time I didn't know it, but as I'm older, I realized he was reading to us to learn English.
Hmm.
And to him, growing up, the most important thing was that I speak English well. I don't have an accent. I learned the language and how to talk. And like he drilled that through me. And so for me, reading was just a part of my everyday life. It was something
Hmm.
that I always did. How did how did those two worlds kind of mesh growing up? Like I'm reading not purely for academics, but because I'm trying to learn a whole new language, and then growing up in everyday life because sometimes children are mean.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like it was a really crazy time. Like looking back on it, I was like, wow, I didn't know English. Like I lived in this country. I was going to school and I didn't know what the teacher was saying. It took the teacher, I think, like 2 weeks to figure out that I didn't know English because I was just sitting in the back and I was just really quiet. And she was like, wait, hold up, this girl does not know English. Like, we're going to have to change what we do here.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was really hard, but also at the same time, like our school and all of the kids, they were really welcoming because our ESL program, I don't know if you guys know what ESL is, but it's English as a second language. It was pretty robust and it was pretty big. And our teacher was amazing. The principal was amazing as well, and they really just helped out. They helped out, and they in our little library that we had, there was a bunch of books in Spanish and in English. And for the like 90s, that's kind of incredible if you really think about it. And here in Nevada, we have so many Latino people that our ESL program is truly amazing. Like it really is amazing. So I didn't really run into a lot of kids like being mean or anything like that. Not until I got to high school, where I did have a little bit of an accent, and now my accent is totally gone. But you can still hear it sometimes. So I don't know about, do you, I mean, you, Charles, we've talked about this, like you don't speak Spanish. Like you lost Spanish, I think, right? Or you never spoke Spanish. Like your dad didn't teach you guys Spanish.
Uh, he
Oh,
might be coming out there. But ironically, I'm in a very similar boat. So my dad actually came from Puerto Rico when he was 2 or 3. He never taught me Spanish. So
wow.
I'm in a similar boat where, ironically too, he told me that I should teach my son how to speak Spanish, and I was like, you should teach yours because he never taught me. So I guess I'm in a similar boat as Charles.
And that's the same. My dad, like, I have to practice Spanish every single day. Otherwise, I'm
Hmm.
losing it. And I speak with my dad in Spanish and I practice my Spanish. And he's always like, oh, you need to teach your kids Spanish. It's good that you're talking Spanish. And I'm just like, how the tables have turned, you know? But at the same time, that just goes to talk about the reason why my parents did what they did, right? My
Hmm.
father taught me English and made sure English was my primary language. That way I would have the opportunity to like my kids are going to speak English, but also I have a chance to teach them Spanish. And there's the opportunity of doing both versus only speaking Spanish and only my kids only know Spanish and kind of continuing that because for him, it was he came in here and immigrated into Oklahoma in the 70s. And I have to say,
Yeah.
at the very least, it wasn't very welcoming to him.
Hmm. No, same, same. I don't think it was very welcoming to my dad, but or, to both, to my family. But in Nevada, we have such a huge Latino population that my dad was like, oh, nuh-uh, you're learning Spanish. Like, you are learning Spanish. I don't care. And then once I started getting into middle school, you know how you have electives, it was not a choice. Like my dad was
Mm-hmm.
like, nope, one of your electives is going to be in Spanish, and same in high school. And then in college, he also was like, you should get a degree in Spanish. And so I ended up getting a degree in Spanish as well. So I got a dual degree once I got to college and I got Spanish. And then after like I graduated, there were a ton of like customer service jobs where you got paid $2 more if you spoke in
Yep.
Spanish. And so like obviously I was like, well, I have these 2 degrees, there are no jobs, so I'm gonna go work customer service in Spanish. So that's what I did. So I was really lucky. I'm really lucky that my parents were like, nope, you're learning Spanish. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's funny. So I'm a recruiter for a construction company. So as you imagine, we get a lot of applicants that only speak Spanish, and everybody comes to me and they're like, "You got this one right?" No, unfortunately, I do not. It happens all the time, but
Yeah.
it's all good. I'm used to it at this point.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
So, so being in right an ESL kid. By the way, shout out to all ESL and ELL teachers. An incredible resource. Every school needs to have them. I'm a huge advocate for that. So, being an ELL ESL student and having your parents immigrate from where were they from?
El Salvador.
Both of them.
Yep. Hmm.
So both of them from El Salvador. Was this a pipeline of like a child growing up seeing that there's much more versatility in the world to political activism? Because you are pretty um, open about what your politics are, and you're definitely open about like getting out there and voting and taking a stance on that.
100%. 100%. Like, I definitely think, like, hearing all the crazy stories from my dad's childhood about the Civil War that erupted in El Salvador, and the reason why he left El Salvador, right? Like, he tells this, like, crazy story. So, my dad was in college in the 80s. Him and my mom, both different parts of El Salvador, they were both in college and this civil war erupted and they shut the colleges down. And at one point they were like trying to figure out what they were going to do, and like, they were like, gosh, we're going to have to like leave here because it's just not safe. It's just not a safe place. And so they ended up leaving and immigrating to the US, and luckily at the time Reagan was like, yeah, come on over. We need workers and we're going to give you guys all this like political amnesty, you know? And
Hmm.
that definitely just shaped my childhood, shaped my political activism, and also just shaped how I read all of these books, right? Like a lot of my favorite books have this political undertone in it, you know, Blood Over Brighthaven, Red Rising,
Hmm.
like all of these books that we're reading, like they're definitely politically active books. And I think that's definitely what just how I view all of these books. And for me as well, hey, how it just like changes my viewpoint and it makes me super active in my community as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. My father came here, at the time he came here illegally. He's since now become a citizen,
Mm-hmm.
but it was the same thing. The Civil War had broken out in El Salvador, and
Mm-hmm.
ironically, he had a chance to come here legally before that, but instead of coming, he sent his brothers. So his brothers came to America, and they got their citizenship. The Civil War broke out, and the guerrillas were going door to door and recruiting children, and it was only a matter of time before he either had to join the guerrillas or
Mm-hmm.
join the government. But there was no not choosing sides as
Totally.
a male of his age, and so he came to this country, and that was definitely something for me that put me on my political activism pipeline is having a father who's come through all of this and seeing the way that the world treated him and how he always persevered and he tried harder than everybody, he worked harder than everybody around him, and still like he was always just the second class, which is why to him
Mm-hmm.
it was his accent and speaking with an accent kept him below, and so that's why English was so important for me to learn. Um and with that commonality, what's interesting is all of my uncles who were here legally, hardcore conservatives. All of their children, hardcore conservatives. Do you have that in your family?
No, no, not really. Not really. Everyone in my family, I mean, actually, no, there's a couple black sheep out in the fam, but for the most part, no. But I also think, you know, it's like our approximation to the West Coast, right? Like, you know, to California and just like the Bay Area and LA, right? Like I grew up I live in Nevada, but we spent so much time in LA. We spent so much time in LA, so much time in San Diego, so much time in San Francisco because like, you know, my dad was like, "Man, that's the only place that you can get really good El Salvadorian food
Mm-hmm.
is if we head to like California." And so like that shaped a lot of our family and that shaped a lot of like me. And so we don't really have that, Charles. Like I don't know. I feel kind of lucky because of that.
That is so for me, like a lot of things that I've seen is, growing up in Oregon, people think it's a super blue state, right? But it's really the valley that is super blue, and outside of there, it's very conservative. And all of my family being conservative, I thought I had this lens of like all these other immigrants that came here are also conservative because all of like I was the black sheep of the family for my beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, that's definitely not the case, I think, for my fam. So we're really lucky. Super lucky.
So speaking of traveling and getting through to like, you said you spent a lot of time on the West Coast and all of that. You recently spent some time on the East Coast
Yeah.
at BookCon. Was that your first time in New York?
No, I've been to New York before. I love New York. I wanted to live in New York, but then I went in the summer and I realized I was like, nah, I would not survive here. I would actually die because it's so hot and so humid. Um, but so we've been to New York before, but BookCon was such an experience. It was so fun. I like, you know, I've been to in my younger years, I went to a lot of music festivals. So I've been around a lot of people. But now I'm switching those music festivals for book festivals in my 40s.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's called
and
growing up.
right. And it was a lot of fun, but my God, book people are so wild. They're such a different breed of people. They're very serious about their books. So that was
Oh yeah.
really, really fun.
Was this your first time at BookCon specifically?
Yeah, it was my first time.
Okay.
And it was really interesting. There was a lot of pushing, there was a lot of shoving for books, which I thought was really funny, you know? Like I was just like, what is going on here? Why are y'all freaking out over these books? But I guess it was different, and I think that they just weren't prepared for the amount of people that were going to come. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel like reading is having this like renaissance. We are having this like renaissance in reading. Like people are so just wanting to find community, wanting to really just dissociate from what's going on around them. And like I said earlier, I've struggled enough, okay? I have been through enough in my life. I'm really just like looking to have a good time reading books. And I think everybody else is in the same boat as me.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with like having a renaissance and like there's a lot of new readers coming in to like, just reading in general, but then obviously book talk and all of that. Myself, I never really read as a child. I read a little bit here and there, but book talk is kind of what pulled me into reading and yeah, I feel you on that. So I'm sure that makes BookCon now versus maybe like I don't know if there was BookCon years ago, but if there was, probably completely different. I'm gonna guess smaller crowds because I saw the lines that you were waiting in and they looked mad.
Dude, it was so wild. But you know what? Here's the thing about me. Here's the thing about me. I am gonna have a good time. I'm gonna have a good time wherever I go. And if there's a ton of people and if it's like kind of crazy, like it's fine. I'm gonna find the vibes. I'm gonna find the people, and I'm gonna find myself a little cocktail, and I'm gonna have a good time. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And that was like, and that was kind of like what I wanted to do going there. I just wanted to meet some authors. If I got the chance to do it, awesome. If I got a free book, great. If not, I'm in New York. Like, I'm having a good time. And there was a point where I was like, dude, I went with my sister who was like my ride or die. And I was like, how about we like, get out of here. Let's blow this popsicle stand and let's go somewhere else. Let's go and have some New York pizza. Let's go and find an indie bookstore and let's go and have a good time. And I feel like if you go in with that type of like mentality, you're gonna have a good time. But the people that were just there to go to BookCon, I think had a rough go. They had a rough go about it. So, yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned like going in there and having a good time and also grabbing a drink. Didn't you recently discover a drink while you were there, or you went there with the intentions? What was that drink?
What was it? My G and T's?
Yeah, your G and T's. That's right, the gin and tonic.
is that a new one for you?
No, no.
Okay.
No, it's definitely not. I love G&Ts. Like, in Nevada, we have a lot of outdoors and we do a lot of river rafting. And so I went on this river rafting trip years and years ago when I was in college. And I went with some of my friends' parents, and his mom only drank G&Ts. And she was like, here you go. Let me give you this G&T. And so I was like on this river in the middle of nowhere, zero access to the internet, zero access to anything. And she gave me this G&T and it just like changed my life. And so now I am an avid G&T drinker. Like that is my drink.
That's the go-to. So,
100%.
when you were at BookCon, I was a little bit jealous because you got to meet up with Bree, and it looks like you guys had a whole lot of fun. It was interesting to see how short you guys actually are in real life, but then also like, did you get to meet any other creators? I know you go there to like meet authors and get book signings and things like that, but did you get to meet up with any other creators while you were there?
Yes, I met Sam. I met Sam's shelf. She is amazing. She's from New Jersey. Oh my God, I'm obsessed with her. I met somebody else. I met Max. I love fantasy books.
Oh
He's
yeah.
amazing. I actually spent like a whole afternoon with Max. We met up in Brooklyn and I he like we went to go eat at this spot. He sent me on like he was like, "Yo, there's this really cool indie shop in Brooklyn that you got to go to, Love and Legends." And so I spent a whole afternoon with Max. I met a bunch of people. I met a bunch of people while I was there. Yeah. So I would say if you do go to BookCon, that is like definitely one of the really fun aspects of it is that you get to meet all of these people that you're friends with on the internet, but you get to meet them in person. So that is
Honestly,
that was
I was gonna
really
say,
fun.
to me, I think that would probably be the most fun, to be honest, because a lot of us we don't have those people in our everyday lives, or maybe we have one, but usually it's not many. So to get to meet them in person, I could see that easily being the highlight.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like that, I think that is one of the most fun parts. And I like Charles and I are in a group chat, and I will write like every so often. I'm like, I wish you guys were here so that we could go to the bookstore and hang out together. Because it's like
Hmm.
we all live just in like different corners of the world that or the US that like it's like I just want to hang out with these people that I talk to every day. I don't know if you guys are the same, but I talk to my book talk friends more than I talk to my real life friends at this point.
100%.
100%. I talk to my book talk friends every day. I talk to my
Every day.
family once a month.
It's so crazy. It's so wild. But like, okay, can I ask you guys this? Do you feel overwhelmed with the amount of connections that you have made and trying to keep up with so many chats and so many people? Like, it's like there are certain times where I'm like, this is so overwhelming because not only am I on Book Talk, but I've also like I'm posting stuff on the other platform on IG. And
Yeah.
I have so many DMs that people send me, and I want to talk to everybody, but it just like becomes a little bit overwhelming. Like between trying to do the Book Talk thing, the IG thing, my family, my text messages, my kids, like it becomes a little bit overwhelming at times that I become a little bit of a recluse and I just like don't talk to anybody for a couple days to like recharge my battery and then I come back full force.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
so I don't have any on Instagram, but on TikTok, I think I'm in like three or four chats, and it's probably been 10 total, but there are three or four that are consistently active, and each one has over 20 people in it, and I'm just like, I can't keep up with all of this. It's a
Mm-hmm.
lot.
yeah, where I kind of get that like overwhelmed or more guilt really is when I have these connections and we talk really every day, and then all of a sudden it starts fading away, and it's been a couple weeks since I've talked to them, but they're still they're still active, I'm still active, but it's kind of like you said, you kind of back away for a little bit because it gets overwhelming, and then you come back, and then but there's so many connections that sometimes I have to every couple of weeks I'm like, I haven't talked to this person in a while. Let me send them a quick DM, just to catch
Mm-hmm.
back up real fast, and,
Mm-hmm.
and try to keep that connection. But there's so many people that I have so many familiarities with or similarities with that
Mm-hmm.
it's just hard to keep up with all of them.
It's so hard. It's like really difficult. And like the other thing too, and I think like you've expressed this to Charles is like you want to read a bunch of indie books, right? And you have all of these like indie authors and you want to read their books and it's like like it's just it's overwhelming and like you want to do it. You want to do it. You want to read all of these books, but you only have so much time in the day. And the other thing too is like I have two kids. My kids are 7 and 4. I am in the trenches, and we're just now starting all of our sports too. Like both of them are in swim, one of them is in piano. My littlest is about to start t-ball. Like my schedule is unreal. Like as soon as I we pick up the kids from school, it is like go, go, go. We've got homework, we've got t-ball, we got to run here, we got to do this play date, we got to do that. And so, like, sitting down and reading a physical book is really hard. Like I have to rely a lot, on audio and physical reading. And so a lot of like the indie books that I want to read take me weeks and weeks because by the end of the night, I'm like, I'm going to sit down and read this one chapter and I'm passed out after 5 minutes. Like it is so brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get that a lot. So, like you're saying, right? Your kids are 7 and so, and they have a lot of activities. They're going places. You're a busy mom. You have work full time. You also do book talk creation, which, by the way, you are killing it, right? Steady growth, lots of engagement. People love you. Like, how do you balance it? I know you say every now and then you back away from it, but like, there's just so many moving parts. But you're posting every day. You're staying on top of analytics. Like, how?
I don't sleep. like no. So, you know what? Like honestly, the biggest thing that has helped me, and I don't use any sort of like platforms. Like I don't, like I know that a lot of these like bigger book talk creators are like, I use this app. No, I don't do that. I use a piece of paper. Like here. This is like a paper that I got from somebody that like sent me paper and pen, baby. Like I write down what I want to read for the week and what I want to record, right? And so like my family, like on Sundays, I get up early, I get up early. I get up like around 5:30 or so, take a shower, I plan and like I have like a bullet points of what I want to talk about. So like right before we got on this live, I was like I want to record two videos. And I have two videos that I already recorded last week. So I kind of have built up this like bank and so, and then I do a bunch of car videos too, like when I'm on the go, I'm like, let me talk about this book and just like yap for a second. And like that's kind of how I just keep up on top of it. Like I get up early on Sunday, my family allows me to do that. So I have like 2 hours on my own. And then, I record it. And then late at night, once everybody is sleeping, that's when I go in and I edit. And then I'm like ready to go for the week. Like truly, I don't do anything like crazy or anything like that. Like that's what I do. And RC, yep, I have Canva and I use Canva and like that is it. Piece of paper, Canva, late at night, like I don't do anything crazy. So a lot of my videos are a little bit darker, but it's because I'm recording at nighttime. Like around 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. It's like really wild. I don't, is it sustainable? No. Am I going to keep doing it for the time being? Yes.
So, seeing how you don't like have any, like you're not using special apps, there's nothing kind of out of the ordinary really happening. For since you're on this upward trajectory with your growth and your engagement and your creation, you're kind of like always elevating yourself and your content. What's something that you could tell a new creator that is kind of like the secret sauce? It might not be the most pivotal thing, but at the very least, this is what you should be doing to kind of keep moving forward.
I would say, like, as a new creator, if somebody could, like, have given me any sort of, like any advice, it would just be figure out what you want to say before you start recording. Seriously. Like, have bullet points, things that you want to talk about when you're recording your video, right? Because like the fastest way that I scroll away from a video is if you're yapping to me for 7 minutes about a book and you keep saying, um, well, I really liked this. Da, da, da. Like you need to get to the point. Like, like I'm a busy mom and I've got like a little bit of time to watch your content, plan it out. And it honestly, it just comes out. Like it'll come out so much better and it'll make you a way better public speaker as well. So if you plan out your video, it really, really helps. Like it truly helps. And it just makes you be concise and also turn on your captions. I know people hate it.
Mm,
I know people hate it, but I'm going to tell you right now. half the time when I am doom scrolling, it's when it's late at night and I can't sleep and I'm laying in bed and I'm not turning on my sound. Like I'm just gonna like read the captions. The other time that I'm doom scrolling is when I'm in a Teams meeting at work and I shouldn't be doom scrolling and I'm doing it. I'm gonna need those captions.
Hmm.
Or when I'm pretending to fall asleep next to my toddler, and
Hmm.
you're like laying there and you're like, oh yeah, I'm pretending to sleep. This is the perfect opportunity for me to like interact with my friends. And so I'm like sitting there, like, okay, he's like asleep and I'm like covering my phone.
Yeah.
I know there's
Dim
so
the
many
phone.
times you're on the live and you're in the chat and we're like, hey Jen, come up here, and you're like, sorry, I'm putting my kids down to bed, because you're like asleep, you're pretending to sleep with them while you're engaging in our live chat.
Exactly. Like if you don't have your captions on, I have to scroll because most of the time I'm scrolling on you because I'm trying to engage with my community when I'm like doing other stuff because the other thing too, right, is like time is finite. It is the most precious commodity that we have is time. And when I have time, I'm going to spend that time reading. I'm not going to spend that time on TikTok and doom scrolling, you know? So like turn your captions on. I know people hate it. But like turn it on or I'm scrolling.
I'm the same
So,
Same,
way.
honestly.
mhm. So that would be my piece of advice. Figure out, try to be concise. And this is if you want to grow. Like if you don't, you know what I mean? Like if you're just like if you're doing it for fun and you're like, like how Teresa said, like raw dogging your reviews, like that's great and that works for you. You know what I mean? But for the people who like want to grow and who potentially want to monetize or whatever, like those videos need to be concise.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want to grow or you want to, become a broken binding rep, obviously that's, you got to make good content to get to that point. So let's talk about that.
It's been really fun. And you know what? And like here's the other thing I'm gonna say to everybody, I don't have a huge following. Like I don't. You know what I mean? In comparison to some other people who have like 15,000, 20,000, whatever. But you gotta throw your name in the hat. You know what I mean? Like when they post and say we're looking for reps, don't discount yourself. Don't say like, "Oh, I only have 2,000 followers. I only have 1,000 followers." No. Put your name in the hat because you don't know. You don't know unless you put you try. Same with all of the influencer programs, right? Like with Orbit, Tor, like just do it. You never know. What if they say like, "Yes, I really enjoy this person's content and they're doing a great job, they're engaging with their community, like just do it." And so like that's how that went down. I saw that they were doing that they were looking for reps and I was like, I'm gonna try. And so I did.
Yeah. No, it can't hurt. Well, and
Exactly.
honestly, with this last group, I think they added more people than they ever have. At least it
Mhm.
seems like it. And some of them didn't have the highest following.
Mm-mm.
There were some that were kind of on the lower side.
Totally. So I feel like you just can't discount yourself. You just have to try. You know what I mean? Like just do it. And if they say no, like I don't know, what do you okay, thank you. I'll try again next time. You know what I mean? Like you just got to keep trying because that's the thing about it, right? Is that like no one's gonna no one's gonna give you these chances. Like you have to go out and you have to find them for yourself. And like that's just the world that we live in and you just got to get out there and you just got to do it. You just got to get after it. So if you have a growth mindset, I think like anybody can do it.
Mhm.
Like I don't have any fancy stuff, you guys. I have a tripod and I got a selfie light and that's it. Like,
So you said growth mindset, which I think is super important. If that's the avenue you're going to take with TikTok, right, in book talk. But if you use the word KPI, we're ending this live, okay? No.
are you
But
kidding?
actually,
Everybody who did the like the best books of Q1, stop yourself.
I know. This is book talk. I'm not into quarter one, quarter two. We're like, come on.
What
Just
are you
say the past couple
saying?
months.
I
But
literally
actually,
wanted to fight every single person that posted that. I was like, you
I wanted to
guys.
jump in with
I
the
might have
cozy
done
spawn
that.
point. The cozy spawn point said that he started putting himself out there at 2000, and I did the same thing. Actually, I was accepted into the Libro FM ACL influencer
Yeah.
program when I had like maybe 2,000 followers. And so, you're talking, and one thing is you keep us fed in the chat, right? You're always giving us these new programs, and when they drop, how do you stay on top of it? How do you know where these influencer programs are? How are you finding them? Like, how many have you applied to?
Oh my gosh, you guys, we do not gatekeep here. If there's anything about me, I do not gatekeep. Like, I don't like that. When I was a kid, when I was a kid, I always felt like I was not in the know and that people were in the know around me and I wanted to know what they were doing. And I always was just like, well, how did they find out about that? How did they know about that? You know what I mean? And like, I hate that feeling. I hate that feeling. And so, like, for me as an adult, if I know information, I'm going to be telling you. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to know, I'm going to let you know. You want to yap about it, I'm going to yap your ear off about it. And the best way that I have found, it's not on TikTok. You got to go over to Threads. So make sure that you have a Threads because there's tons of publishers that post on Threads. Yo, this is open. Hey, this is on NetGalley. Hey, make sure that, in the next 24 hours, we're going to be making this book that's read now on NetGalley. And so, like, that's where you find all of that information. And also, like, make sure that you're on IG too, because these big publishers are it's easier for them to be on IG. And so they'll post there, hey, we're opening up this influencer program. It's going to be open until like June 9th. So, or something like that. You know what I mean? So, like, go over there, follow tons of publishers, and then that way, when you're just like doing like a little scroll, just do like 5, 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Just scroll over there and they'll post on there, yo, go to the link in the bio. This is open until X date. And so then when I see it, that's when I share it in our group chat.
Okay. That's good to know. Yeah, I'm on Instagram, but to be honest, I'm not nearly as active on there. Not at all on Threads. So I would have never thought to look there, to be completely honest.
I've been resisting Threads.
Threads is a wild place.
Yeah. Well, now I'm gonna check it out.
It is unhinged
Get
over there in
on
the best
Threads.
place.
Okay.
People are so unhinged on Threads, but I love it so much. It's really fun to see people over there.
I don't even think I've used Threads at all. So, I mean, I guess what is the difference? Like, what are you getting out of that you don't elsewhere, outside of
It's
what you just?
it's basically like Twitter. It's basically like old Twitter. So like X, old Twitter, the best. So that's
Okay.
what it's like.
So
And you can
unhinged.
kind yeah, exactly. Totally. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll be getting on that after this. So, what have you? I guess when it comes to the arcs, how how long have you been entering these programs, and like, what are some of the really cool arcs that you got to read before they came out?
It's funny. So like I didn't really start getting into the art game until recently. And I've been able to read some really cool books like Demon Star that's coming out in July. Oh my God, that book is so freaking good and everybody needs to read that. It's it's incredible. And I just like applied. I seriously just applied and was like, well, let me see if I get this one. And I did. The other one that I got is Scion. I got The Infinite State by Richard Swan. I got Sublimation by Isabel J. Kim. And it's just
Mm,
like, and like for that too, the other thing that I would recommend highly, create an email account, a separate email account, right, from your personal one. Like, I would totally recommend doing that. And then what I did is I went to all of the publisher sites and I subscribed to all of the publisher sites, and they'll send emails saying, like, these are the books that are upcoming this year. These are highly anticipated books. And so I will just go through all of those emails, and I'll be, because at the beginning of the year they're like, this is what we're coming out with. And if something looks really cool to me, I will apply for that arc at the beginning of the year, or whenever I'm on NetGalley, or if I'm in an influencer program, they'll just send me those books. Like, they'll just send them to me and I can do a read now. So that's what happened with Demon Star. Is DAW just sent me an email and was like, these are these books that we're pushing out this year, and that's how I ended up reading it.
Oh, okay. So, and I want to make sure that we have enough time for people to ask questions. So I ask a few more, and then we'll kind of jump into some questions from the comments. But being on TikTok and specifically Book Talk, what has been like, I guess, your favorite thing so far? Like, what did you get out of this, or what have you gotten out of this that maybe you weren't expecting?
Honestly, it's like the friendships, like truly the friendships. Like, I think that was the thing that I was not expecting. The growth and the free books, like, that's really awesome, but it's been really, really cool just being friends with everybody. Like Charles in Alaska, Mike in Florida, Bree in Pennsylvania, like all of these people that I just connected with at such a deep level, that's been, I think, the really cool outcome out of this whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's crazy how much, community you can have with people that you don't even see. And
Mhm.
yeah, just jumping on Book Talk, you definitely get that.
Mhm.
Okay, great. Charles, you want to have anything before we jump into the questions?
No, I think that we should go ahead and make sure we have some time for a Q&A section. So, chat, if you have any questions for Jen, definitely type them in right now.
So RC, that's a really good one. How to become consistent in posting on TikTok and IG, because I'm struggling with IG. Honestly, okay, so seriously, so like I think about like my content creation in like three buckets, right? Like my car videos where I'm just yapping, my reviews, right, where I'm like reading books and I'm reviewing them, and then carousels, right, where that are really, really popular on TikTok, but it's changing on IG because now what they're pushing is talking head videos. And what I mean by talking head videos is like reviews and, my car yapping videos. And so those are my three buckets that you'll see on my page. And so, during lunchtime, I will make like a carousel where I think about, I'm like, okay, what kind of carousel do I want to create this week? And so, like, this particular week, I have read a bunch of new books. And so that's what my carousels were about. So I create those carousels during my lunchtime when I'm at work. And then, my talking head videos, right? Like, I'll post those on IG, and then I don't, if you have a setting on TikTok, or excuse me, I'll post those on TikTok. And then you need to make sure that you have a setting on TikTok where it says like save the video without a watermark after I post. And so then after that, after I post on TikTok, then I go into IG and then I post that same video. So I'm not posting different videos. I'm just posting the video that I put on TikTok over on IG. So if it works, great. If it flops, whatever. Like, it's in God's hands at that point. I've done my job by like creating my content. So that's what I do. And then the other thing too, RC, is like, I don't know, focus on 3 days a week. Focus on 3 days a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and have fun, right? Like, that's what I would suggest. Uh Early Bird, what is my all-time favorite book? The Martian by Andy Weir. I love that book so much. And that's the book that got me back into reading. Like I read it and it just like changed my life. I love that book. What is my Holy Grail special edition book? Strength of the Few by James Islington, Broken Binding Edition. Who's my
The
favorite
cozy
Alicia? You, girl.
the cozy spawn point asks, "What's your posting schedule? Once a week or what?"
Right now it's like five, but honestly, I just go by vibes. If I'm feeling it, then I post because I have my bank of posts. If I'm slumpy and I'm tired, I'm not gonna post anything. You know, I'm kind of just like vibing it out, really. Like I'm just like me and my piece of paper are just like vibing it out.
You
So,
say you vibe it out, but you also seem to have like this structure that you follow. You've got your three buckets that you think of. Like you've given us a lot of great information that is much more than just vibes. But I think that's a big part of you, right? Vibes are important, but I think you also have like some guidelines to help you out maybe when you're not vibing.
yeah, I mean, but that's why like I have just like a bucket. I just have like a bucket of stuff. You know what I mean? Like if I'm feeling good that week, right? So like last week, I was feeling really good one day and I recorded 6 videos in one day. I was just like on a roll. And this week, I'm a little tired. I never recorded anything. You know what I mean? But because I had a bucket of stuff that I can kind of just like pick from, like that, then I was able to have all of this content. And then, the other thing too is like if I'm like it really like if I'm not feeling tired and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna record all of these videos, then I just do it. I just do it. But then I just record, right? Like I just set the camera up and I just record and I just yap and then I'm done. Like I don't re-record anything. Like I'm just like a point and shoot and I'm like, okay, let's go. It is what it is. If it turns out kind of janky, whatever. Like I don't know, you know? So, yeah.
Okay. Oh, go ahead. Apologize. Sorry, I thought Charles was going to say something there.
No,
So,
no worries.
so great. Well, then I think we'll go ahead and stop there with the question, but I know we're kind of getting close to time, so obviously, would like to kind of respect your time more. But Jen, thank you so much for joining us. I just kind of taking the time to chat with us. Obviously, you and Charles have talked a bit before, but you and I haven't, so it's been nice to kind of get on here. I've been invited to some of the lives. It's always at a time where I'm unavailable, but I'm going to try and make sure I get on one with you all when you're there. But yeah, and to everyone watching, thank you for jumping in. Thank you for asking questions and hanging out with us. If you all do not follow Jed, please go follow her, show her some love on her page, and we'll see you guys for the next episode of Book Talk.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for hanging. Thanks Charles. Thanks Leo. Bye all. Have
Take
a good
care.
See
Sunday.
ya.
Bye.